Hi all, Trisha Peach, host of the Peach Buzz. I just wanted to say a happy upcoming Mother's Day, but I want to talk about some of the reasons why some churches have stopped acknowledging Mother's Day or talking about it at all from the pulpit. But first, thank you to everybody that prayed for our family last weekend. We went over to Michigan for my grandmother's funeral. I got something very special, my grandmother's wedding band. Inside it's inscribed Jack to Shirley, 1949. So it's 70 years old. I miss you, Grandma, but I know that she is, with Jesus. Some churches, especially the larger churches, have stopped acknowledging Mother's Day at all. And for some of you that this is new to, you're wondering why. Well, there's several reasons why some churches have stopped acknowledging Mother's Day, and I'll tell you how I feel about that in just a second. First off, the biggest reason, I believe, is how many people are suffering from infertility. There's a lot of people in your congregation, I would about bet money, that are suffering from infertility. And I know firsthand how that is. I know other people have struggled much longer than I did. All I can say is the pain was just overwhelming. I don't think you can understand unless you've actually lived it. Everyone else in my entire family seems to get pregnant by, breathing, and it took us much longer. I wasn't making enough progesterone, and maybe I had thyroid problems even then. But I remember every month, excited but also dreading the pregnancy test, and month after month after month it was negative, and I would sit there sobbing. And my husband, he was very caring, but I don't think he was as distraught as me, because he's thinking, oh well, if it's just the two of us, who cares? And I was absolutely devastated. So I think it was even worse for me, perhaps, being a children's pastor, because I'm doing baby dedications, I'm overseeing the nursery, and I kid you not, the one family was having their 8th baby and the other one was having their 6th baby. We were just exploding with babies everywhere, and not me. And I think only someone who's been there can understand that kind of pain, where I'm praying and interceding with God every day, and then having to get up there and smile while doing a baby dedication for someone who's, on their 8th. So it was a difficult time in my life, and I do remember, and Mother's Day was particularly tough. They would hand out a flower to every mother in the congregation, and I would watch the flower go by. I was hanging on to God's promises during that time. We were looking into adoption, and then I was pregnant with our son before we could adopt or do fertility treatments. So I know other people have gone the route of fertility treatments. They have had all of that and still struggling with infertility, and it is heartbreaking, and churches need to recognize that pain. I don't think there's anything quite like that pain of infertility. So that's one reason why churches have stopped doing a Mother's Day, because they said it's too painful for those suffering from infertility. Okay, part 2. Part 2. Another reason why churches are not celebrating Mother's Day anymore, or not mentioning it, is how many women they have miscarriages or stillbirths, or a child that is deceased, and it's excruciatingly painful. I believe that a whole lot more women are having miscarriages than we know. I think a lot of women keep it quiet, and honestly, they are a mother. They are a mother. Their child is in heaven. So it's painful when they see the flowers going around and they don't get one, because no one knows that they are a mother. Another reason would be there are many families where the mother is not there, not present. Either the mother's deceased, it's a single dad, which I see more and more and more these days. Sometimes the mom is incarcerated, and it's very painful. Or you have an older member of your church where the mother is deceased, and they'll say it's just too painful to come to church on Mother's Day if you're going to mention mom. And I fully understand that. I do. That's very painful. I understand it, I guess, from an outsider perspective, not firsthand. But some of my friends have had miscarriages, and it is just devastating, absolutely devastating, or stillbirth of a child. Another reason why they might not do Mother's Day would be the stigma involved when our culture kind of promotes the career instead of motherhood. I believe feminists have kind of pushed this whole that you're less than, you're lower if you decide to be a stay-at-home mom. You're just a stay-at-home mom. There's all kinds of moms. There are working moms, moms that have to bring home the bacon. There are stay-at-home moms. There are those who are doing both. I did both for many years. I completely understand. We should be celebrating all moms, which leads me to my final point. My point is that we have plenty in this world that will downplay traditional motherhood or stay-at-home moms, or you know, that's a traditional thing and that's a cop-out. I disagree more than I can possibly say. And if there's anywhere that should be celebrating what moms bring to the family, it should be the church. I still believe the church should mention and acknowledge Mother's Day. But there's a way to do it, and I've got some tips for trying to minimize the hurt that it causes. Now, some people say, you know, all these people won't come to church on Mother's Day if we say anything about it, but then you have some that will be really angry if they come to church and you don't say anything about it. You can't please everybody, and you can't do your programming just on who's offended. You can't do that. And the family has definitely been under attack. I believe those moms need that encouragement and that affirmation that what they're doing is a calling from God, and it's very important. So number one for tips, I would say don't just pass out flowers to the mothers because you don't know who has lost a child. I pass one out to every woman. Every woman receives a flower. And then we have a candle lighting, which I absolutely love, for mothers and children who are no longer with us, that we can have a memory candle up front. Because you need to remember, every single person has a mother. Not every person is a mother, but every one of us has a mother. So on Mother's Day, we can honor every mother. We honor our own mothers. And if our mother is no longer with us, I love having a memory station with a candle and a picture of a mother to remember the mother's contribution to your life if your mother is passed away, or to remember a child. Yes, that's painful, but to remember that child and keep them in our memory. So that way we're honoring those that are with us and those that are not anymore. Other things you can do, you can play a video honoring moms. You can have the kids come in. We had the kids come into the main sanctuary once and thank every woman in the congregation. And we talked about how the older women are mothers to these kids as well. So we included our whole entire congregation and still said, thank you, mothers, for what you do. I still believe in celebrating Mother's Day, but just with tact. And having said that, what do you think? Does your church still celebrate Mother's Day? Do you say anything about it? Do you not? How do you try to not offend, or do you try not to offend? And I just want you to know how much I care about all of you. I love you. Happy Mother's Day. Leave me your comments below. All right.